Welcome to Love and Pillow Talk on WGSN-DB, where I am up and close and personal. I am so happy to be talking about part 2 of a soulmate discussion. And if you felt like the first part was amazing, you're really going to enjoy the second part of the show. So what I'm going to do is kind of back it up a little bit, and I'm going to talk about where I left off from the first show and part 1, and then go right on into part 2. So where I left off was talking about the point of choice, and that when we feel motivated and strongly to make our search for love, this is an actively endeavor towards our spiritual growth. And it is essential when you are going to get into what I call the love experiment, and aligns you with the love alchemy that is needed when it comes to the laws of attraction and the magical spells that we use to attract our soulmates in our lives. So those spells are affirmations, prayers, declarations, poems, a lot of different things. There are many other tools that you can use and books that you can read. And like me today, listening to this show, to also seek out spiritual guidance. But this is just the gravy. All of this is just the gravy, because what is important here is that when all of these things are in place, it's that it is your focus on your commitment. And it's your commitment that is going to bring about your evolving, your expansion, and your unfolding of the person who is going to connect with your heart and your soul. So there are many methods and techniques and exercises to attract a soulmate. And I'm going to be offering at the end of this show 9 different soulmate secrets that are important elements for personal growth and for your soul work. And their regulations are for everything that you need in life to attract higher relationships. And it's important that your commitment to this process is to awaken and render to every love spell, because this is the magic and this is what changes everything. And it is important that we do the deeper spiritual work so that the right person is ready and available to receive the love, and you can be open and honest and take responsibility for your present actions, your past, and your future actions. So to receive love is one of the profound life teaching lessons. We have lots of teachers and guides and faiths to facilitate our path and break through the awakening. No one, not even I, can claim to know the answers to the mysteries of anybody's unique heart. But I will offer guidance and some tools to help you find, like I found, how to search for a soulful love. One of the first tools that you need on your journey to find soulful love is, like I said before, they are 9 soulmate secrets. And this is a mystical number because it can be reduced into the sacred number of 3. And if everybody knows sacred number 3 aligns with the Trinity, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost, as well as it aligns with the goddess trinity, which is the maiden, which is the goddess, which is the mother, and the wise woman. So to offer the secret, it's important for us to set them as principles so that we can do our soul work. To start on our own personal love quest. This is going to be a love quest. It's important that we recognize that this is a love quest. So helpful for me because I have many readers. I align with their books and their tools to help me in my work and what resonates with me. And one of them that I use to kind of help me align with Love Alchemy is author Jessica Shepard. She actually wrote a book called Love Alchemy. And basically this means it's a soul's journey. And a soul's journey is to be documented. And so you've heard more than time again, Oprah has put this out there that, you know what, you need to get a notebook and you need to write down your experiences. You need to get it out of your head and write it down. So it's important for you to go to the Dollar Tree and buy a journal for $1 and use this on your love's quest. So by the time that we end this show, you will be able to have a format, have some tools to get started on your journey in attracting a soulmate. And so it's important when you're writing this journal that that's going to be a place where you put your thoughts and a way for you to chart your progress on your love quest. If you have an intuitive perception of a person or a situation, and these are the changes that are happening, it's like, as I said, a spell, a magical spell or a ritual or exercise. You want to write them down in your journal, and you want to keep track on what's working, because this is the magical work, and it is invisible work because it is sacred work, because it is specialized just to you. And it requires faith. It requires encouragement that it's working. Like anything, you may not see the effects of it right away, but you will know that eventually, as you go back and you look in your journal and you read it, that your daily entries will start to reveal that things are moving in the right direction. So in the interim between the work and the soulmate appearing, it will validate that you're tracking your heart's journey and the progress that you're doing along the way. So love alchemy begins when we get onto a cosmic love adventure. It is not the finished product that makes the soulmate our own. You must own every part of the responsibility of the work, because as I said, there is an umbrella of different categories of soulmates, and you want to attract the greatest soulmate that you can, and that all depends on how you do the work. So feel free to change up the tools that you use. Take note of what you did different. Keep a track of your results. And if you come across a specific tool that you enjoy that's working great for you, you want to write that down. And I'm going to give you an example of some other tools that you can use. Maybe you're being led to an inspirational love quote that just touches your heart and you just, light up when you read it. Well, then put it in there. Say it in the course of your day out loud in your heart. Maybe there's a song. Maybe there are lyrics that move you. Maybe you're driving and you come across a bumper sticker slogan that touches your heart. Write it down. So make sure that you have a small journal with you and your big journal is at home, because there's always ways and messages of things that's coming to you. Okay, so I'm going to start off and give you an exercise to do. And this is where I want you to start. You want to compose a poem or maybe draw a picture, and you want to paste it somewhere so every day that you see it. And then you want to track the strength, your intention to attract soulful love. Okay? So that's one simple exercise you can use. So you want to write it down because this is the magical work. And I guarantee you, the universe knows that you're committed because when you sign your name, you are standing by your words. And you might be asking, okay, where to begin? Well, you can begin right with that exercise that I just gave you, okay? You can begin right where you are right now by also loving the one that you're with. Keep in mind that following the curiousness about those connections is to explore beyond the date. And I'm going to clarify what I mean about date, because date does not mean friends with benefits. Because if you are involved in a relationship where it's a friend with benefits, that is not soulful love. And honey, girlfriend or boo, he or she is not going to come around in the way that you want and you desire for your heart. So let me define what the word date means. Let's go back old school, because date means that you're open to experiencing personal relationships and getting to know someone. It doesn't involve sex, people. Sex is not involved in this. Lust is not involved in this. It is getting to know the person and spending time with them, okay? So it's not talking about that dreamy girl or guy that's gazing in your eyes with this casual, strange question, and you're going, are you the one? You know what that is? It's all about desperation. It's about regarding the encounters with people who hold a more compelling compatibility and chemistry for you. This does not involve lust, because if somebody is looking at you and they cannot look in your eyes and only in your eyes, that's your first clue that that person has the eyes of lust, because they're looking at every other part of your assets, then they're looking into your eyes. And they don't mean anything else but a booty call. So we need to be aware of people's body language and how they're interacting with us, because you want supremely a divine, not a coincidence. You want a desired exploration. And there are no such thing as coincidences. There's only synchronicity. There are so many magical things that happen that you don't even have a clue what's going on, because if you're not awake, if you cannot see through your spiritual eyes how the universe is bringing things to you when you do the work, then you know what? Basically, you're walking around with your eyes wide shut. So the love alchemy experiment, you must remain vigilant and positive and expect without losing your sense of humor or your perspective. You never know what you might get, what might show up. So the question is, how should you prepare? Okay, everybody, I want you right now to throw your hands up in the air. And if anybody sees you throwing your hands in the air, they know basically you're going, I have no clue, I'm just open. That's where you need to be, with your hands up in the air and saying, I'm open, because sometimes it's the people you least expect who have the most to offer you. Imagine that. Imagine that every person you meet is in service to you, like myself right now. Because if you're listening to my show, I'm in service to you. And this is your wish for love. Your current connections ask in your mind this question: what gift are they bringing to me? Because a soulmate always brings at least one gift to you. And most soulmates, the higher soulmates, bring many gifts to you. And then you ask the question, what gifts do I bring to them? If you cannot answer those two questions, then definitely you don't see the value in them, and they probably don't see the value in you. So the answer is, it might be they're just here to heal you, or to help you, or to teach you something, or to give you something. A soulmate is not always about the romantic side. They may not even be in a situation having a immediate answer to the questions. And guess what, guys? That's okay. Because you've asked many questions before, and, answers don't always come to you right away, because it takes time for everything to get lined up in the right place at the right time with the right people. And it's not an excuse to not treat others extraordinarily well as messengers in service to your wish for love. Be supremely vigilant, whoever shows up, but don't be a doormat. Honor the whole messy process that a potential soulmate might be bringing to you. Now, I want you to take note of this. If you are in a messy relationship, consider that person's purpose in your life is to move you out of the small, tight, closed-in space within. You've been boxed in for a long time. This person is brought in your life to help you grow, to activate your fears and fill you with confusion and dread. So if this is happening right now in a relationship, it's so you can learn more about who and what you really want and need. It's about, bottom line, people, self-love and healing. Because you cannot attract in your life what you do not give yourself. We are talking about love alchemy. Love alchemy is aligned with the spiritual laws. And so you need to take that in account. So if you decide that this exchange has completed its course for your heart, then this is important too. Exit cleanly and gracefully so that you don't have to ever meet them again in a different variation, lesson, or heaven forbid, in another lifetime. Because, you know what? It's not so much if both of you get it. That would be a beautiful thing if you both get it. But that doesn't always take place. All you can be concerned about is your work. So if you get it and you got the lesson, oh, God bless you. Because that is where you don't have to ever learn the lesson. But I will tell you this, you will still be tested, because that's what school is for. That's what Earth School is for. Earth School is about giving you tests. Earth School is about educating you. And that's what happens when you're in school. You have tests. You have tests. And that is true to see how much you've retained, how much you understand, and really, truly, did you get the lesson? So, hey, don't worry about memorizing when I give you the Love Alchemy 9 Soulmate Secrets of Wisdom, because they will magically start working on their own. And once you begin using them in your life, they'll become a part of you and capable to raise you higher and closer to love than ever before in your life. As earth begins to rise to heaven, both begin to conspire on your behalf of your love wish. And simply is to know that it works. You'll begin to see that your role within your relationship differently. You will attract differently too. You will draw on a whole new subtle level. And you will start launching the soulmate search to magical heights. It's not a new ideal, people. This is not a new ideal. And there are good reasons, because this is ancient wisdom that I'm talking to you about. The soulmate call is the most heavenly drug out there. It works. I can tell you I know this for sure, because I have been amazed at some of the relationships that I have been able to attract in my life. And that's before me doing this work. And know that I know who's coming to me and who I can be open to, and who I should just let keep on walking down the road and say thank you, but no thank you, okay, at this point now in my life. But I can tell you, when it does show up, you're going to look at it and go, oh, my goodness, what just happened? Love Alchemy will walk you through the process of growing your love consciousness in a variety of stages in your own growth. You want to choose to take only to wish what you need and add what you already know, and think of as, like, as I say, kind of a gumbo, a mixed salad, a menudo, because this is offering a recipe that is discretionarily mixed uniquely for you. And the universe will support you and your creativity and individuality. These are the love tools necessary to add your own personal twist that you want in a soulmate that is just custom made for you. Finally, the soulmate is prepared to change your mental concepts about who your soulmates are. These people are going to come because they're going to be special people. And guess what? They're going to be disguised as ordinary ones. They're going to appear in the most unlikely places. That understand all soulmates are not romantic partners. And I'm going to go back in the different categories of soulmates in a moment. Period. It is about the quest. Mark that. And that is the mystery. So you want to stay open and hopeful, because there are many levels of soulmates. And I'm going to list them again for you now. There are kindred spirits, kindred souls. There are karma mates. There are twin souls. There is true love. There is puppy love. There is twin flame. And the highest of them all is spiritual partnership. And what's important for alchemy of love is that you ask, what is it? Talking about love alchemy, but most people really don't understand what it is. But we use it every day. We use it every day. It's the greatest resource that God ever gave anything. The process is a purification. Love alchemy is an ancient art of converting a base metal into a precious one. Those who know how to change lead to gold are called alchemists, and were set to possess the secrets of the universe. And alchemy always involves an organic process to compel transformation. It burns away the impurities and purifies all things. It's the fire that converts a base element into a more refined, essential, and perhaps even a more valuable stone. Love is fire, which we risk who we were for the sake of who we will become. We have no idea what that will be. So it's to learn to have faith and to surrender to the process of the highest good for yourself, to do the work. When we practice not knowing in the middle of the alchemist fire, we're going to experience heartbreak, and pain. And it is through that we become self-aware, and the magic happens. But most may not even see it until it's over. And I like to recite this quote by one of, now we can say, an ascended master, because when she was still alive, she was a living master, and that's Maya Angelou. And I know that I'm not the only one that quotes this, because I know Oprah, every chance she gets, she says it, but it just sticks in my head because it's so true. And she says, when we know better, we do better. But what's going on with that? People know better, and they're still doing bad. And that's because they don't love themselves. Therefore, all the relationships that they have coming to them, that they're attracting to them, are karma mates, or as I call, great teachers. So there's a famous myth that's told in ancient Sumeria about the transformational process. And I want to share it with you. And it's about a Sumerian goddess of love, and her name was Inanna. And she was a blissful light being who journeyed down into the underworld to find her lover. And like most, it seems today, she had a sister. And her sister ruled the underworld in this myth. And you could say their relationship was strange, to say the least. So when it came to find love, it came easy for Inanna. But for her sister, it felt like she got the short end of the stick, so to speak. She was the opposite of her sister, which means she was infertile, she was chronically lonely, she lacked any form of loving relationship, whether that be with siblings or a parent or a lover. And guess what? She was angry about it because her sister had it easy and she was happy because this is what her sister possessed. The sister kidnapped Inanna's lover. For Inanna to get her lover back, she had to pass through 7 gates of hell to get into the underworld. And each gate asked for her to surrender something precious. And the first was the superficial possessions that allowed her to go deeper descent. For her essence was basically stripped. So she had to surrender her magic grail, which contained the magic of love and her true identity as a love goddess. So she was told to surrender it. And her heart's warmth and her will to live. And lastly, to take the most surrender was for her connection to her higher self. And the higher self is our soul. It is our I am. It is our spiritual self. And this meant she gave away her ability to hear the voice of the divine talking to her. So as a total psychological and a physical darkness she was in, meaning she was without a spiritual connection. So her sister proceeded next to actually hang her on a meat hook so that she can be left out to rot. And to say she was nursing a grudge and betrayal of her sister Inanna. But this is not the end of the story, you might think, because here it is, depends on how you see it. Because there's no blame. Just in real life, blame doesn't serve anyone. Resourcefulness does. And Inanna's dark sister struck a magical deal in return for her sister to go back to her queendom. If she sacrificed someone precious in return, she could return home. So her lover, she found out, was having affairs carelessly with others. So this wasn't hard for her to make a decision. And she decided to send him down with her sister in hell. And so it is the descent into darkness is where we learn to see the right through people. But sadly, not always that we know the stories, because those stories are filled of abuse, betrayal, slavery, and even ultimately death for some stories. And people still don't get it. But I tell you what, if you can get back up after such a traumatic trip, there is nothing in life that will ever remain the same. And this underground journey gives an all new meaning to feel the burn. And it puts a new twist on saying, baby, you've come a long way. You might be asking the question, what's the point to all of it? This story is that I want you to understand the earliest vision of this myth is saying the goddess of love isn't motivated to visit the underworld by the loss of the loved one, but by the desire to learn about the darkness and death, to become a whole person. Because this is when you know for sure how you're not going to let anybody ever treat you. This is the lesson, and how you're going to learn how to love yourself unconditionally. So the question is, how many people do you know that will volunteer to go through something like this knowingly? None of us are going to do it, because this pertains to the soul and the soul's contract and the soulmate that we've all agreed to come into this lifetime so that we can work on ourselves. So when we need to lose, and the pain that puts us in touch with our deepest, our resourcefulness, and the part of ourselves that is bigger than our personality. And this is the problem. We are stripped of our superficial values, everything, and those that we love, to discover our eternal self, our higher self, the one that won't be broken. Now, we may think and we may feel that when we go through these things that we're broken. And that's basically the spirit. But nothing can break your eternal self. That is your spiritual self. All that can ever happen is that when you learn the lesson, is that you've done the work and that you evolve and you grow. And that is where you realize, in the end, that you are not broken. And many songs have been written about this. You know, hey, Katy Perry was one of them. And I love her album that she did. I think it's California Girl, whatever it is. But the songs that she has on there, especially This Is a Part of Me and Wide Awake. Because it seems that loneliness and loss and pain will teach more for you about yourself than even you can ever have thought of. It can be fascinating to be around such a person who've experienced pleasure and pain. And I will tell you right here, I am one of them, as many other people have. And when you can talk to somebody who has literally come through hell and back, they're going to inspire you because they're strong internally. They build up the inner strength. And this is what's important. It's not about going to the gym and working out and getting buffed, because most of them can't even handle the pain when the pain hits. They act like big babies. And you look at them and go, whoa, why are you acting like that? You got all these muscles. I mean, you're tight and thick. Why are you acting? Because they have not done the internal work. So after this descent into darkness, we always discover we are stronger than we think we are. In Indiana's sister was really her great teacher. And because this was a journey to soulful love, you will ask your heart to regard your enemies or your karma mates differently. Because when you start to recognize them in your life, you can make some quick decisions to actually move it on to the left. All right? And know that, you know what? Take the higher road out of those relationships, because all they're going to do is teach you some hard lessons, but you're going to have to go through the pain. So the journey of soulful love is an invitation to a gift of your adversary, because basically it's an initiator of change. The journey of love is the question, what will it bring you? And it is nothing at all. It should be that you're on a quest on this journey. And the only thing that quest requires you to be is vulnerable and have an open mind. These are the pivotal points so that you can navigate these crossroads and slay the dragon, so you will survive and you will thrive. So when you're seeking soulful love, you are stripped down and you are changed into more of a self-awareness, and you become stronger. That drama, ego, idea, love relationship is just all unrealistic expectations. It brings the love back to earth in more of a pure form of light, universal energy, Reiki, Holy Spirit, all of it. It doesn't matter what you call it. This is love alchemy. This is the greatest resource that God has given us to heal anything. Love can heal anything, especially if it's soulful love. So the world of superficial and confused romantic feelings is important only for soulfulness that's going to bring us back into reality. Once we've found our essence, that higher self, our soul star, we can put on the simplest ensemble, the simplest outfit, the simplest dress or pants, and wear them instead of having them wear us. We can get dressed up and go out, and we can wear our essential self, our authentic self, because to wear inner authority and self-knowing is the best accessory and complement to wear in the whole universe. And so that is just what's important in this game. It's just essential. And so I want to go back over to make sure that we understand what a soulmate is. A soulmate is a relationship that is joyful. When a relationship skips the love and it goes directly to the wounding, it is a clear sign that the relationship is for your healing solution and not forever after. A person can never complete you. They can lift you to your highest potential. Love brings us from separation to oneness. Love heals and teaches lessons. Love brings us to hallelujah, OMG, the one, to finally the person that we've been waiting for our whole entire life. Who is this mystical soulmate? You may ask that question. Everyone agrees that the soul is a place of eternal. It is in each of us. It is immortal. Soul survives in rebirth. The soul can be used as a noun or even an adjective. because it's both. It's both. We use soul, and people use that word and they really don't even understand what they mean. And guess what? Consciously. But unconsciously they do, because they put the word with food to say soul food. They put the word with the word music and they say soul music. And they put the word with person, and therefore they say soul person, soulful person. To describe the soul can define the soul in a feeling of soulfulness. We can recognize that soulfulness, when we encountered it, is a special act in the arts. Soulfulness as a quality is distinct, and it is recognizable. It is wise, and it is compassionate, and it is loving, and it is kind. We can find unfavorable mysteries of soul, of life. It's like trying to find the secret ingredient in soul food. We can't know exactly the amounts and the ratios of certain spices, but when you taste it, that it's got a lot of love in it. And so this is where the soulmate converges into soulfulness of one's heart. This is the type of relationship that is defined for its ability to heal, reunite all opposites and contradictions into oneself, and expressions of the soulmate reunion, to unite, reunion, restore to wholeness. The soulmate reunites us with our eternal wholeness. No other soul can complete you. Forget Jerry Maguire movie. No other soul can complete you. The completion comes in as a puzzle piece, and it depends on what type of soulmate they are. But when they come in, they fit perfectly like that puzzle piece. What's important here is to focus on that healing shares the same purpose as the soulmate, and that there is no coincidence, because it's real. So you ask yourself, what does your soulmate look like? They're going to have many qualities that are universal. There are a number that are very personal and specific to your growth, your capacity to fulfill your dream. It requires you to get more specific on the details, because you can ask the question, but if you don't ask the question in details, in the specifics of it, then guess what? Then you're not going to align with the answers. You want to reach a certain point in your readiness that you're only limited by your imagination. And imagination should be as huge as the universe. And your ability to call your soulmate to you. And that call is from your heart. If your heart is blocked, if your heart has a wall over it, I can guarantee you right now, the soulmates that come to you are not going to be the soulful love that I'm talking about right now, because you personally have some great work that needs to be done, that must be done to be able to attract greater, more powerful, loving relationships in your life. Chances are, when you're ready, you can begin calling the soulmate to you by trial and error. And guess what? Just the fact that you're open and you're in the dating game, soulmates will come to you. And this is where we learn how to discern who they might be versus who they're definitely not. Because still, you want to know the formula. Because attracting a soulmate is not an instant. It's not instant, it's individual. But there's a sort of formula to it. And first, your personal, your spiritual, and your life needs to be in readiness. You need to get to that level of self-actualization. Because where you're at self-actualization from the lower need deficiencies on that triangle, you're at a level to evolve and to do your soul work and to grow. And so that is where the soulmate will come in. That way, as you continue to do your work, these are the type of soulmate relationships that you're going to attract in your life. You want to read the signs. You want to learn to tell the difference between a soulmate versus a karma mate. You want to work through the false beliefs that you're not worthy to attract a person of your dreams. When you feel stuck in your heart relationship or you're pining for previous love, you're sending out a busy signal to the universe. And that says you're not ready. It says patience and timing is everything that's important right here. The soulmate love is not a race against your biological clock, ladies, your friend's marriage. The fact about it, you're turning 30 or 50, that is not soulmate love. It's about patience and exploring the rich emotional stuff of your heart that comes with people you meet on your way to your reunion. All fears and hopelessness and no's, God has already blessed you with everything you need inside to do the soul work on your soulmate mission. Take confidence in yourself. Search for love. It's not separate from living your daily life. It's about purpose. And it relies on this, that everything that you've done up until now, you've been doing it right now. Your decision, your attitude is playing a divinely fine hand in your life to attract your soulmate and that connection. Already you're on your way. This is the information and insight that you want to add into your box of tools and you want to play with it. That is what is so important, because in that, that's one more thing that you don't want to have. Focus on desperation or fear or the uncertainty. All of these are kisses of death. The goddess of love, those are emotions you want to cram, and you want that free-flowing style. You want to light up. You want to be playful. You want to be courageous. You need to abandon the ego and surround yourself with people who really appreciate you and don't play in the shadow of others or yourself. It's important, basically, that you are shining brightly. It is just so important. And what also amazing is that there's a story that I want to share really quick with you. It also is a mythology of the story of the soulmate. And it's a chance for us to make that connection, to understand a little bit more. So I'm going to go through the story really quick, and then I'm going to start by closing out the show to give you those 9 soulmate secrets. The soulmate can be a twin soul, a twin flame, or there's other names soulmates go by. And they're all the same timeless love. The soulmate is both ancient and modern invention. Now, in astrology, the backstory involves the Greek, and that's the mythology story I'm going to tell you right now.